That has a lot of...
Hello, and welcome to the High on InfoSec podcast featuring Delchi, and Frank. Today, we will be talking about random things that have nothing to do with anything.
Didn't you get a comment about the last podcast that someone thought I was a fucking cis man?
Yes, they thought you were a cis man and that you had no right to be talking about the issues that you were talking about in regards to Rittenhouse and in regards to the Dave Chappelle controversy, that your voice on trans matters doesn't matter because you're not trans.
Oh, wow.
Well, that's really kind of funny because, that kind of goes against the whole plan, doesn't it?
There was a plan?
Trans people want to be supported. So you try to support them, and then they turn around and say, well, you can't support us because you're not trans.
Yeah.
Like, you don't want my support? You don't want my vote? You don't want me to not beat the fuck out of you?
No.
Okay, good luck out there. Have a nice day. And, you just go back to playing video games and masturbating. But,
Yeah.
it's just
I never stopped.
It's like I may be cisgendered male, but I masturbate to trans porn. Doesn't that count? No, you don't count.
No, that's called chasing.
No. Chasing is when chasing is literally chasing. That's tantamount to stalking.
Is it?
That's when you're out there in the real world doing real world shit. Like you follow them to the club and all that. But just sitting home and spanking it to Chicks with Dicks Volume 5 is not stalking. It's not chasing.
And we all know Volume 7 is really where it's at.
Well, 7 is good, but I think the costuming and the production quality in 9 was where it really hit peak.
Indeed.
Because most of them are just here's somebody in a bikini. Wow, pop look, floppy dolphin, and they don't really make any production out of it. It's not it's not like Pizza Guy Surprise. Hi, I'm the pizza guy. Whoa.
Did you stick your finger in a light socket? Yes. That is why my hair has this wonderful texture. It is beautiful, and it is I'm trying to go for the mentalist look. Or just the mental retard look.
The mentalist.
Yes. That guy has awesome hair.
I thought that was just like a term you were creating to coin for that.
No, there's a TV show called The Mentalist, and the guy in it just has awesome hair.
You're not talking about what's his nuts? Chris Angel.
Oh, Chris Angel's a fuck.
Isn't Chris Angel a magician?
Well, no, actually, he's an asshole. But he likes to pretend to be a magician.
Nah, I'm talking like this dude over here.
What about Chris Angel and his brother Zach Bagans?
That dude's got awesome hair. I want that.
Wait, which one's the dude?
Oh my.
The dude's the one on the right. Okay. Although I do admit,
I don't want to assume. I don't want to assume anyone's anything. So, which one identifies as the dude?
I identify as the dude.
I don't think anyone in that picture identifies as the dude.
Yeah, well, that may be true.
Anyhow,
the world.
I mean, I know one person who definitely identifies as the dude.
The dude.
Dude. Exactly.
The Big Lebowski is the dude.
The Big Lebowski.
I love that movie. So in InfoSec news, we have interesting things happening always. I don't remember any of them, but they're happening.
Wow.
Well, let's see. This week in InfoSec, somebody accused somebody of something. Somebody's saying that somebody is a something, and we're all
you're getting confused. That's this week in InfoSec drama. That's a whole other show.
This week in InfoSec, we recap why InfoSec is racist.
Well, we need to do better as a community. Too much. As a
community, we need to flush twice.
We need to be more inclusive. Oh, why is all that up there? That's not. Oh,
here's the money, Lebowski.
Oh, there goes the copyright strike.
What? The church is going to come after us?
That's derivative work.
You're not allowed to
derivative work, and therefore fair use. It's less than 30 seconds. It's something new, and it's derivative of its original content.
We got a strike on, or we got our video taken down on Facebook, and
Yeah, this is the second episode of the High on InfoSec cast.
Thing is,
one
what
got
you
destroyed.
just said, like, yes, I want to contest this, and then they just say, yeah, we disagree with you, and you can't take it anywhere.
Yeah, it's like you have been decided against, and you have no rights.
I'll sue you,
Because of
Facebook. You're
So
suppressing my free speech.
there's a bug called Immunify 360 that is leaving Linux web servers open to getting pwned. It's open to like an RCE takeover. And
Man, my Linux box don't get pwned.
it's a PHP unserialized vulnerability, and it exists in the AI bullet functionality of Cloud Linux Inc. Immunify 360. What the fuck that is, I don't know. It's like probably an antivirus thing. Anyway, it allows
Antivirus for Linux. Now wait a minute. When did that happen?
you're gonna find this. So one of the companies I worked for, they insisted that every machine, even if it had Linux, had to have antivirus. So we found a vendor that supported antivirus for Linux, and they had an agent, and we installed their agent on one Linux box in the cloud. And we went to go push it to our other Linux boxes, but it wouldn't work because it only works with one kernel on Ubuntu, and that specific kernel was like 4 versions behind upstream, and you just could not install this shit without swapping out the kernel completely, which was nonsense. You know, you don't want to swap out a kernel live in the cloud that you only have SSH to a box. It's not going to end well.
Colonel who?
Colonel Cluster and his guys. They do stuff. Another thing that we've got recently is Microsoft's security update triggered Windows Server authentication issues. They pushed an update on domain controllers, and that happened in the late November patch Tuesday, but people are just rolling it out now. And they affect systems that are running older versions of Kerberos delegation services. And the long and short of it is, if you're combining this with SSO, which a lot of organizations do, you now have a bunch of users that can't authenticate to the domain controller. Active Azure AD is affected, web app proxy, ADFS, SQL server, IIS, all these things will stop working.
You call this a denial of service then?
Not really, because a DOS phone is more like you've got the exploit, and if you use it, you're just going to knock their shit offline.
Well, if they can't authenticate, they can't log in. That's a denial of service.
Agreed, but this is not really something that you could use against the company that would be like classified as a DOS vulnerability under like the CVSS rules. This is more of like the end result is denial of service, but it's not like a DOS fault. Is what I'm saying.
No, it makes actually literally no. It's a DOS, but it's not a DOS because someone over at MITRE says it doesn't fit into this category they built out of their ass.
MITRE's not the only one doing categories that don't make sense.
Yes. I know that. I mean, it's like a giant hat, like the hat from Lidsville, and people just pull stuff out of their ass, and it's like, well, this is a Category 7, Subcategory 3, Wankel Rotary Engine Part 3 attack. It just prevents people from logging in.
Another thing we've got in the news is they have this GoDaddy hack that happened affecting their hosted WordPress sites. Where?
Oh no! Wait a minute. WordPress hacked? Say it isn't so, Daddy.
No way! Not again. This one happened was discovered on Wednesday, but the attackers had access to its network since last September.
I needed a laugh the other day. I was feeling kind of depressed. So I called GoDaddy and I asked them how much to make a custom website for me, and they said $4,000. And I'm like, well, for $4,000, what am I getting? And they said, well, we'll make you a WordPress website. And I was like,
they're going to outsource that out to some Indian analysts for $10 an hour and then profit about $3,000.
It sounded on the phone like they had outsourced it to a guy living on a park bench in San Francisco. But that's nearly the same thing, except they don't. Well, actually, no, they do shit in the streets in India. Damn, I guess it could be, yeah. But yeah, it was just funny that they're like, you realize that, WordPress is one of the most hacked platforms on the known planet. And they're like, well, it's an industry leading platform. And I'm like, yeah, it's leading in being hacked. Well, we're professionals. And I'm like, yeah, I'd imagine. So you're going to charge me $4,000 to download some free software and put a bunch of plugins into it? I'm like, I know marijuana is legal, but come on, guys, you got to curb that shit somewhere.
Yeah. So these attacks,
and now they've been hacked, and then they're telling me, oh, it doesn't get hacked if you're a professional. Well, guess what, GoDaddy, you've been hacked.
These attackers managed to get the SSH keys. They got the username and passwords associated with SFTP accounts. They got the WordPress admin passwords, and they also got the email addresses and customer numbers. So, I mean, it's pretty much like a full compromise for people who have shit on there.
Yeah, that's
That's
all you need to get
1.2 million sites. That's a lot of sites that these people had access to. I'm sure there's a lot of password reset there.
Yeah, that's right up there with the password reset. There. What's that?
Nice picture.
Well, I'm trying to be supportive.
Yeah, I feel very supported.
I'm trying to be on the right side of history.
Bra. It would have more support.
The right side of history.
Better than the left side of history, I guess.
Well,
look, Joey Biden's here. We got the support of the president, man. The president.
Come on.
That ran its course last time you did that.
What?
That ran its course the first time you did that.
That ran its course the first time you did that.
That ran its course the first time you did that when you said the president has our backing.
I still think it's funny. And so besides this GoDaddy hack that happened recently, which is fairly recent, ConnectWise Automate plugins are insufficiently protecting your credentials. And a lot of people use these ConnectWise Automate plugins to do a lot of stuff on their servers and on their clients that they manage, meaning that other sites that they go to could potentially steal their cookie and then use that cookie to authenticate to ConnectWise Automate and your clients. Yeah. And Iranian apps are actively targeting Fortinet, if anybody cares. I like Fortinet. And we got a whole bunch of other crap that's happening, but nobody really cares. The FBI got hacked a while ago, back in November 13th. This was not like really getting hacked. It wasn't like they actually popped a mail server. They just found the way to relay messages through some PHP code on a website. Oh, yes. Indeed. So that's all I got for tech updates. For anybody who actually gives a shit about that stuff. Social issues. We got that fun stuff happening in San Francisco. We got people, literally hundreds of people, all putting on ski masks, going to a Nordstrom store, stealing everything in a few minutes, and then bringing it out to their cars and driving away, and the police doing fuck all.
Is it legal there?
Well, no, that's the thing. There's a reason for that, because number one, they have knocked down anything under $900 that you steal is now a misdemeanor and not a felony.
Right.
And a lot of the stores are saying don't even fucking bother stopping them. There's a great video out there, if you can find it, of a guy who literally walks into, I think it was a Walgreens, with a garbage bag.
Was that the guy on the bicycle?
No, I don't think it was on a. Yeah, I think it was. Yeah, he was on a bicycle, and he just took the entire perfume aisle and like shoved it into a garbage bag and walked out the door. And you can actually see people videotaping him and the security guard watching him as he just like rode his bike out the door.
Like a boss.
Yeah, I was in San Francisco. I got that video, but it probably got me copyright.
Is it the same thing as what's going on here in Portland, where they're like, don't go after misdemeanor crimes, really?
Well, I have my own theories on Portland.
All right, you guys got to forgive the source here because it was literally the first link I found. There you go.
No sound.
No sound.
No sound of it.
Oh, it's probably copyrighted.
No, it's just the whole way you share your screen on here is nonsensical. So if you
I
go
thought
Chrome
it was
tab,
like-
it will get the sound, but if you do share the whole screen, it will not. There we go.
See, the thing is, in San Francisco, they're somewhat organized and they understand what they're doing. Yeah, this is the video I was talking about. This guy just loads up and drives away.
Well, so that's from San Francisco. Here's the New York Mayor Bill de Blasio. 2 weeks ago, they put a curfew on.
2 weeks ago, they put a curfew on. I literally just want to see the video.
Kill cops,
look, that looks like
engage in
Portland.
crime. But no, they're peaceful protesters.
How come?
You need to do it.
Well, they got some guy to talk about it.
If you got to
His audio sucks, dude.
Well, listen, yo, I'm doing what I can with what I got. You got the more expensive audio shit in there, and Delchi, despite having a freaking $1 million audio setup, sounded like he was on a freaking fan last week.
That was because of fucking Discord putting its dick in the mashed potatoes. I have since fixed that problem.
That's why the mashed potatoes taste good. It's the dick cheese.
Yeah, maybe for you.
Here, I got you. I got you back.
You got my
Don't
back?
worry, I got your back.
Oh, who's got my front?
5 reacts to the brazen crime in broad daylight.
Also Fox News.
Camera show exactly why American cities are under siege. Check out what happened at a Walgreens in San Francisco. This is a man in broad daylight looting a store and just filling up a garbage bag. Then he just casually rides his bike out of the store and onto the street. Walgreens alone has closed 17 stores in the city just because of this rampant theft. And other companies are following suit. And there is some shocking video of a drive-by shooting in Atlanta's wealthy Buckhead neighborhood. People are running for their lives, but cops there aren't allowed to do anything about it. That's thanks to rules that limit police from chasing suspects.
Well, that's Atlanta. They've been doing that for forever.
Yeah.
They've been shooting up Atlanta ever since the Civil War. I mean, come on.
Guard in that video in Walgreens barely stuck his hand out to grab the bag. It's because for $20 an hour, it's not worth ruining his life the moment he becomes the suspect. The moment the media says this poor man was just getting bread to feed his family. He filled the garbage bag with loaves of bread and milk, and then the security guard tackles him. So you can't. There's no interest.
That's
in
not
doing
bread
your
and
job.
milk.
This is part
That's
of the
perfume.
trickle-downing.
Yeah, I know.
What in the name of happy dog shit is that? I mean, I know it's Fox News, but
Well, he wanted to smell good for his family and also resell the perfume to buy bread, obviously.
You think?
I mean, don't you get it?
Yeah, but I mean, you take that, that's a double-double.
I think he's saying, it is kind of weird that they would say that.
I like it. I'll allow it.
Of the vilification of police. So if the police aren't there, whoever takes their place will also be vilified, whether it is the private citizen or the security guard,
Ding, ding,
anybody
ding.
interested in that. We were talking about this a while ago.
It's just
it's called the
passing the buck.
Brazilification, where
Just like he was like the bike ring when he was passing by them.
The 5.
Excuse me, I'm coming through.
Can we find other news sources besides this one? Oh, your buddy Andy's in the news again. I sent you that link.
Let's find out. This one right here.
Nope. It was an article that he essentially some other journalist is shitting on Andy's work, saying that his coverage of the latest event, going on social media and taking screenshots and all that of the person who ran all those people in wherever the hell that happened. Yeah, they're saying that his investigation is sloppy because he's showing screenshots out of context, and people can't check the social media for themselves because it's been taken down. So the portrait that he's painting of the person who killed these people is askew, and essentially that, you know.
Oh.
Well, pardon me while I LOL at that.
Dude, what the hell?
It's not really one. It's just kind of hidden in there. It's part of the architecture.
Oh yeah.
If you think about it, we use that design all the time for like distributing air and air conditioning units when they come out of the vents. You kind of have a little swastika going.
You know,
That's not good.
It's not good. Listen to you.
It's Adrian already gets miffed when we get his channel in trouble when we broadcast on it. Not often, but it happens. Like when I kept using the T word to describe Autumn, he was not happy with that.
What, teetotaler?
What's
wrong with
word?
drinking tea?
Is it tranny?
Dude, no,
Oh my
don't say
God.
that word. That's a bad word. You can't use that
It's
word.
not a bad word. I am.
What are you
trans, I can
taking
say
it
that.
back? What are you
I'm
freaking
taking it
Randall?
back.
Yeah,
Are you
as an auto
Randall
mechanic,
from freaking
Yeah,
what the
those
hell that
are
movie is?
mechanical parts.
Yeah.
Yeah, the mechanic told me I blew a
Clerks.
tranny, and I said, "Hey, fix the damn car and leave my private life out of it, will you?"
Clerks. I'm taking
That's
it
Clerks.
back.
You're thinking Clerks 2. Hey, and we
Hey,
got
little
Clerks
post
3
monkey.
coming soon, you know.
Really? He's doing another one?
Yeah, it's already. I
Has
think
your
it's
career
in the
gone that far in
can.
the toilet?
No, I mean, wait a minute. Yeah. No. Sorry, I thought I just heard something.
Exactly. Transhumanism. That's what you call members of the Transhumanist Party.
Well, transhumanism,
Exactly.
isn't that like, hardcore bionics?
No, don't play that. You're going to get us in trouble. Yeah, so the Transhumanist is actually not just their political party too. And the Transhumanist Party, when I took the one of those politics quizzes, it actually put me in there. They're like, "Yep, that's pretty much what you stand for, Frank. That's your party." I was like, that's great. I'm dating a trans woman. I'm a transhumanist. Let's put more trans things in there. We need all the trans stuff.
Transcendental.
Transcendent.
Transcendental.
Technocrats.
That's why I just abbreviated my shit to GNCH.
Good nugs can happen.
Gender non-conforming humanist.
The dorks ignorant enough to think we can put ourselves into bots. Dude, I would put myself into a bot if I could. I would be like a spam bot and that spam everybody. Everybody get phone calls like 2 a.m. from their unlisted line, and it'd be my AI and be like, "Hey, it's Frank. I want to talk. Let's talk. It's 2 a.m. I'm bored. I can't sleep." But to everybody in the whole world at once.
Call Thomas at like 3 o'clock in the morning. Hey, man, I just want to talk. You said if I ever need you to call you.
It is. So that's the singularity. That's what they call it. The event where we're going to be able to upload a human conscious mind into some kind of digital format. I think the whole Neuralink thing is going to be the bridge to making that happen. If Tesla ever gets that shit off if Musk ever gets it off the ground. And that's what I remember overnight last night, Elon Musk and the company that he owns that does electric car charging that's associated with Tesla decided to rework their pricing schema and implement the changes immediately in the morning. So people went to go charge their EVs and found out the bill was 4 times higher than it had previously been. And that's kind of a jerk thing to do. I get that the price of power fluctuates, but 4 times as much when you got to fucking fill up your car is going to hit some people in the wallet pretty hard. Right around.
Well, come on. Every time OPEC gets a hard on, we get to pay more for gas, and that's a wake up in the morning thing. I mean,
True.
Welcome to the real world, Neo. I mean, how much competition is there in gas versus charging stations? I mean, the guy's got a monopoly, and that's what happens when you have a monopoly.
What do you think Nikola Tesla would think about him charging so much for electricity when Tesla's whole thing was he was going to build Wardenclyffe Tower out on Long Island, give the whole world free electricity until JP Morgan shut him down?
Well, he had his rent already paid for, so he didn't have to worry about shit. Now,
that was Tesla later in life. And the irony there was the hotel he was staying at was actually powered by DC power. It was the only hotel left in New York still running on DC, and he was the inventor of AC. He also kind of may have had a sexual attraction to a pigeon.
If Tesla,
Oh, go
If
ahead.
Tesla had to pay rent, he would change his position on giving away free power.
Would you mind if a brar joined?
Go for it. Shoot him a link. Abrar is our friend who is from Bangladesh, and he is a doctor. He is very intelligent, and
he's very well read on
Yes.
world issues.
And he also has a crush on Autumn, which I can understand because she is really cute.
I guess. Sent him the link.
Dun dun dun. Yeah. So besides
What's happening in the news?
Oh, lots of crap, man. There's always stuff in the news.
It's
So there's a
insecure
common
for that.
cloud misconfiguration that's being exploited right now in and they're essentially using
Chills?
What?
In Delchi's photo, is that Chills?
No, that's Henry Rollins.
Oh.
My name is Chills.
My name is Chills.
He actually worked at a Haagen-Dazs for a while.
Oh.
So TLDR, Palo Alto set up a bunch of honeypots that were all intentionally misconfigured to see how quickly they'd get pwned, and they got pwned almost instantly.
Well, isn't that the whole, go into your DMZ and watch the world go to hell? I mean,
you ever run Responder, but run it against like a cloud instance and just watch everybody try to authenticate to it? It's pretty fun. I highly recommend.
There's so much automated shit out there just waiting for you to fuck up that much. And people still don't believe that. They don't believe that there's shit out there scanning 24/7/3. Just the minute you open anything, it's like boing, pounce right on it.
Exactly.
And it's like, oh, it doesn't happen. That's just that in the movies. And I'm like, yeah, okay. Easy there, Colossus, the Forbin Project.
So what did your friend say that did she explain why we were wrong about Dave Chappelle and Rittenhouse?
She did not specify to that. She was just giving feedback as to our cast.
So you're wrong, and I'm not going to tell you why you're wrong, but you're wrong, therefore you're wrong.
I think she was trying to be helpful. Actually, she's just letting me know, like, hey, if you're gonna do a podcast and you want it to be professional and you want people to watch it, you probably shouldn't have garbage in the background, which is pretty freaking good advice, actually. The other stuff,
I don't see garbage in the background.
Well, I blurred the camera a little intentionally. I rerouted my video stream through Snapchat.
What is there in there that's garbage? It's all tech gear. I mean, that's what you should be seeing. Piles of tech gear. It's not like there's empty monsters and a fleshlight that hasn't been emptied in 6 months, and it's tech gear. Oh God, did I kill you with that fleshlight comment? I mean, there's no garbage in there. That's all tech gear from hell. Now you want garbage? Look what I'm putting up right now.
All I see is a Ferris wheel.
Yeah, look closely.
I can't. It's a Ferris wheel. Is it on fire or something?
No. You got to look at the people that are riding the Ferris wheel.
KKK people.
They're all wearing, yeah.
Dude, you get our cast in trouble, man.
Why? It's part of history. It's American history. That's an actual event where they rode a Ferris wheel while wearing their robes.
Now, Autumn, you're getting geeked like a science lab. You hear that?
Yeah.
Like a science lab.
She blinded me.
So
with
dead
science.
air will kill a podcast. So y'all just got to keep talking, say things.
I have this
Jesus
video about
is
Ben
coming back
Shapiro
next
if he
week.
could rap. Do you want to see that?
Sure.
Okay.
6 million Sky routers are left exposed to attack for nearly 1.5 years after initial vulnerability disclosure.
There's some whores in this house. There's some whores in this house. There's some whores.
No. I don't know why you put that up there, but yeah. So these Sky routers, right? This is
You
like the
said
main
yes
ISP
to it.
over in Europe. And they're like freaking Comcast over there. And their default router setup, they just give everybody who's vulnerable. People were popping these things left and right for a year and a half, and nobody was talking about it. Oh, look, Abrar has commented trans naked.
Oh my god.
I'm so glad that Abrar has offered this intellectual insight into our cast that I could not otherwise have gained. Trans naked. Yes, that is true. Trans is naked. Naked is trans.
Naked is trans.
Yeah.
What kind of topics do you want to get into?
Well, me and Delchi are going to talk about our favorite tranny porn stars, and then we're going to make you rank them in terms of attractiveness.
How about Jewish jokes compilation from Norm Macdonald instead of that? Have you seen how Morgan Freeman's response to race problems?
What's his response to race problems?
I'll show you.
Is it don't be racist? Because that'd be a good response. Don't be an asshole. And
you find ridiculous. Why? You're going to relegate my history to a month? Oh, come on. What do you do with yours? Which month is White History Month? No, come on. Tell me.
Well, I'm Jewish.
Okay. Which month is Jewish History Month?
There isn't one.
Oh. Why not?
Yeah.
You want one?
No.
All right. I don't either. I don't want a Black History Month.
I don't want a Black History Month.
How are we going to get rid of
Does this count as blackface?
Think about it.
Oh my God.
I'm going to stop calling you a white man. Yeah.
Please stop, Francis.
Stop calling me a black man. I know you as Mike Wallace. You know me as Morgan Freeman.
What do you think? What is your response? Why is Morgan Freeman a moron?
Morgan Freeman man is a moron. Morgan Freeman man.
He said free man, not Freeman man.
Is he a free man? He is a member of this country, and I don't think anybody here is really free. So could he be a free man? He could if he would move to another country.
Well, I wouldn't be questioning if Morgan Freeman is a free man since he's black.
I used to work at MindGeek reviewing uploads, and I've seen my fair share of trans porn. Trust me, you have not seen your fair share until you've seen my external hard drive that is completely filled. It's just Martin Luther King speech. Yes. But look, this is a little bit ironic, right? So I'm part of this group. I volunteer there every now and then. They're called FAIR, Foundation Against Intolerism. Intolerism is not a word. Intolerance and racism. And I actually worked their booth over at Freedom Fest this year because my buddy Michael asked me to. And the thing is, I learned a little something about Martin Luther King and the way he's currently seen by critical race theory people. And they don't like Martin Luther King. They actually think his policies and the things that he stood for were not correct, which I find really ironic. The people who are now claiming to be the race police, so to speak, don't like the teachings of Martin Luther King. And it's really crazy.
Share the content, Frank.
Okay. I gotta find it though.
Should we bring Thomas on?
So the FAIR pledge from this organization is based on the principles of Martin Luther King. And I had quite a few people come up to me and try and school me on this. But let me just show you guys about the FAIR pledge here real quick. So I seek to treat everyone equally without regard to skin color or other immutable characteristics. I believe in applying the same rules to everyone and reject disparagement of individuals based on circumstances of their birth. I am open-minded. I seek to understand opinions or behavior that I do not necessarily agree with. I am tolerant and consider points of view that are in conflict with my own. And I recognize that every person has a unique identity, that our shared humanity is precious, and that it is up to all to defend and protect civil culture that ignites us. Now, lots of people sign this pledge, and there's a lot of stuff on the site that's interesting. But the thing that I thought was cool was the whole pledge that they developed was actually based on Martin Luther King and things that he taught and preached. These are not like just random ideas they came up with out of the blue. These are based on Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.'s principles of nonviolence. They're literally those exact principles, just reworded with modern language, right? And the thing I find most ironic is the people were coming up to me trying to tell me that I was racist for working at this booth that is preaching these kind of principles because critical race theory and the lens that it has taught them to see the world through, these things are offensive to them. Which is how these are like basic things. I think everybody.
Are you sure it's not that there was a white person presenting it, therefore it was racist? Because being white makes you racist by default.
We had a black person there as well, not at the booth.
Yeah, they said
he was
you
giving
were.
Yeah, but he's an Uncle Tom.
Exactly.
Well,
It's
let me
like
see if I can find something appropriate here.
Should we bring Thomas on?
Charlie Brown, I'll lay down the quickness. Cut the music. And there were three kings, Martin Luther, Don, and Rodney. Martin Luther was the smartest of the three. He preached equality, peace, and self-respect. He was the good king. Don was a Devo who sprung on the wrong cat and got rickets from a stank poon on 125th Street. He was a pumper bumper who turned a trick on a skeezer named Geronimo and suffered in drinking a case of natural ice while blasting diarrhea all over his crib. He was a bad king. Rodney was a bulldagger coochie ripper who was geeking on baking soda while flap stabbing some hoe in the back of a hoopty. He did the jelly donut to the muggle trick while Amadou Diallo changed his name to I'ma do what the cops tell me to do. He was the worst king of all.
That was very interesting.
Now, see, that is an example of somebody being racist. What you were doing was not.
Should we bring Thomas on, Francis?
If you'd like to be on, he's probably busy right now, but if he wants to be on the cast, he's more than welcome. Yeah. Anyway, so yeah, it seems that the modern day anti-racist movement is very entrenched in these ideas that are designed to separate people rather than bring them together.
The problem is it's not so much anti-racist as it's just anti-white. Because what they're teaching is to be white is to be racist. There is no exception to that rule. And if you try to make an exception to that rule, you're racist by default. It has nothing to do with the actual teachings of these people, which are really good teachings. And if you could stop being told to beat the shit out of each other and just follow these simple directions, we'd be much better off.
Agreed. I guess a brawler is not going to join other than to post little trolly comments, which is unfortunate because he is rather intelligent and I was looking forward to intellectual discourse.
He made a pun.
Did he make a pun?
He also said this. I don't think you're seeing everything.
What did they not like about MLK?
It's not that they don't like MLK. They don't like white people quoting MLK.
No, they don't like MLK, period. They don't like the principles of nonviolence because that doesn't allow them to be violent in reaction to things they don't like. It's about defeating injustice and not people. But their whole thing is that the people are evil and that people need to be punished for the sins of their ancestors. They need to be punished for racism they don't even realize that they've got.
I would disagree. I think their point of view is more that they want people to acknowledge the current system that exists and help dismantle the current system in favor for a new, more unbiased system. Because that's what they'll say when you say things like that. That's their retort.
Right. Well, like I like a lot of the things Martin Luther King preached. I don't necessarily think he was like a great person. I heard a lot of things about I like a lot of that were negative. Martin Luther King that I dislike. I don't necessarily think he was like you have to be able to separate person. I heard a lot of things about I like a lot of that were negative. Martin Luther King that I dislike. I don't necessarily what the hell? You have to be able to separate person. I heard a lot of things I like a lot of that were negative. Martin Luther King that I dislike. I don't necessarily.
It was never ending.
Facebook, if you scroll over a video, it starts playing it now.
Yeah. Oh yeah, Francis, these gingerbread cookies are so good. Oh, we can't hear you. You're muted.
All right, I forgot my point. Regardless, the thing is, you have to be able to separate the person from the things the person stands for. And sometimes people may be really shitty people, but they may have done really cool things in a field. And we don't seem as a society to be able to separate this person did these great things. Let's take those things and work with them versus this person did a horrible thing, but at the same time also made all these contributions to this field. So let's just forget all those contributions they ever made and pretend this person never existed is like what we're going on now. It's like we can't separate people from what they say. Like in one circumstance, it's like somebody can say something really stupid. That is now the defining thing about that person. Any contribution they may have made to a field is forgotten. And it happens all the time. And it's really fucking weird. Yeah. Yeah. So people do pass off others' work as their own all the time, I think. It happens a lot in InfoSec, but it happens a lot in the real world as well. And yeah.
Just because he plagiarized does not mean what he said was incorrect, though. You should judge what he was saying as being valid or not valid. Sound
exactly. That's my point. You have to judge somebody's things that they've said based on also the context of when they were said. If you said something in the 70s that may have been really freaking brilliant, you take that same thing and you bring it to 2021 and it could sound racist and hateful. Meanwhile, back then it was insightful and anti-racist. It's like
that's because everyone's hyper offended
context when they were said.
All we are saying is give peace a chance. That's what they said in the 70s. And yeah, now that would get you hung.
Yeah. Jackie Kennedy apparently had written a book about, I think, MLK based on what we were saying. Dickie posted here. And come to think of it, her work is why we know he was a horrible person behind the scenes. Yeah, my old man was kind of an asshole and a bit racist, but he used to talk shit about MLK all the time. He would tell me that he was a pastor in the South and that they all would just sleep with everybody there in their places of worship. And I don't really believe that, but that was what?
He was a womanizer.
Was he? Is there evidence to that? No.
Yes.
Yeah, so are the Kennedys. And your point?
True. Well, look, that's the thing. You can have somebody who in their private life did bad things that you might not approve of. And in their public life, they may have done great things that really benefit everybody.
That's an interesting distinction there because you say bad things / things you wouldn't approve of. There are a lot of people that do things in their private life that the general public would not approve of. That doesn't necessarily mean they're bad. It doesn't mean what they're doing is bad. It just means people don't approve of it. Okay?
Right.
I mean...
Well, good and bad are subjective if we're going to go down that whole route.
But not even that kind of subjectivity. Like, somebody likes to watch nuclear war movies. Well, that's bad because you're doing horrible. There are plenty of things you can do in your private life. The thing is, we don't have private lives anymore. Anything you say, do, touch, fondle, squirt gets put all over the internet 100 different ways and can be used to ruin you. The super secret you tell your best friend, hey, one time I touched my dog on his red rocket, and the next thing you know, he's on the internet saying, hey, he's into bestiality. And now you can never be mayor.
Well, that's the thing is people take what others say out of context. And this happens not just online. It happens in journalism. It happens everywhere. And we get these people.
No, what now? No, you guys, this is really cool. Come on.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, just hold on a minute. The 5th graders showed us how to do it. Red rocket. Come on, Doug.
Dude, what the fuck did you put that on for?
It was part of the conversation.
All right. Anyway. We need to be able to separate things that people do versus things that I can't even fucking say it right. Stop canceling people for little shit that they do. And just fucking look at their body of work as a whole and just accept that nobody's perfect. And sometimes people are going to have fucking opinions you don't like, and that doesn't invalidate everything else they've ever done.
Yeah, but the people who are doing the canceling are the ones that don't do that.
Well, they're the ones just the left that's doing canceling. The right.
I didn't say. I said people who are doing canceling. I didn't say the left. I said people who are doing.
I know.
Canceling.
I was just making a distinction.
That's
all. A lot of people associate that term with the left.
Francis.
The thing is that once you start canceling people, the number one thing you have, the people who are doing the canceling are the ones that use the playground excuse when it comes to defending themselves. Okay, I'm canceling this person because I don't like what they do. Yeah, but you did this. Well, that doesn't count. That doesn't count because I'm this. That doesn't count because I'm that. You can't hold that against me because blah. And now I'm going to cancel you. They're using the anything proof shield from the playground to defend themselves against their cancellation of other people. And we're letting them do that. The worst thing we ever did with cancel culture is take it seriously. If we would just stop taking it seriously, number one. Number two, stop making it profitable. It'll go away.
No, it won't. Well, I'd like to think it would, but I don't think it will.
Well,
stop making it profitable and see what happens.
The Dave Chappelle thing, the person who organized the protest at Netflix got in trouble for her racist comments and xenophobic shit too. And she was like, that was in the past. I don't need to worry about that. Stop trying to pull up things from the past. And it's like, if I said that about something I said about race in the past, or anyone that's been canceled, you would say that doesn't matter. You said it. You're racist.
The thing is,
that person also dropped a lawsuit recently.
Dropping a lawsuit?
I used to tell jokes a lot, and I studied jokes. I studied the etymology of jokes. I looked at, why a joke is funny and what they're based on and things like that. And I have told some seriously hardcore shitty jokes in my time. And a lot of times it was just because it was drunken barroom, whatever. I've never been a racist. Now, I could be accused of a racist for saying, well, I'll tell you, hey, you name a subject, I'll tell you a joke about it. And I'll tell you how it's modular, and I'll tell you how it differs between this culture and that culture. And I can tell you that, this same joke told on the East Coast is different from the West Coast. Oh, you're a racist. It's like, dumbass, listen to what I'm talking about here. I'm trying to not only disassemble, or what they call it these days, unpack, but also when you disarm something, it no longer has any power. And that's what we need to do. We need to disempower these things, and then they don't matter as much.
Yeah, those two Netflix employees.
Person. No, this is something. I think this is something else. I think this is related, but that's not the same person I'm talking about.
Oh. Well, anyway,
yeah. So this I say, cool story, bro.
Yeah, those two people who raised the concerns about the transphobic remarks in Dave Chappelle's special, they withdrew their accusation that they lodged with the National Labor Relations Board, saying that the company tried to stop them from speaking up about working conditions. and both of them, yeah, they want them.
Too.
What?
Didn't they resign? Because someone resigned recently.
Oh, they both resigned. It said they're former employees.
Now, what do you want to bet that they resigned versus they were told to resign or else?
Well, what's the or else is the question.
Oh, you want? Oh, well, we'll come after you. We'll file charges. You know, the whole RIAA thing. Okay, yeah. It's like we may not have a case against you, but we will drag you through court for the next 5 years, or you can resign, and we'll leave you alone. And I bet you people would pick resigning over that.
Well, Netflix says that the parties have come to a resolution. I wonder if that just means they gave them a lot of money and they went away.
I've been through a number of those kind of resolutions where it's like, yeah, okay, I'll agree to quit if, you know, and then in return, I'll get, you know, dude, if I can't count on one hand the number of times in InfoSec where I've run into situations where people say, okay, look, we're going to fire you. And I mean, you're going to fire me for doing my job. And they go, okay, you don't say anything. We give you 10 grand and you resign voluntarily. Okay, have a nice day. That happens in the real world. That happens in InfoSec. It's probably what happened here.
Yeah, man. What I think, as far as this whole controversy, is it shouldn't be happening in the first place. Controversy. The thing is, it's comedy. Comedy should be off limits. Like you can't.
Why should it be off limits?
You can't censor comedy. The whole point of comedy is it's the one place where people can just fucking say shit.
They are not necessarily censoring as much as they're complaining vocally, and I think you just disagree that they're vocally complaining because you agree with it.
Perhaps, and I may have a bias here, but
if we didn't do something, we'd still be having blackface as a part of entertainment.
That's true. That's a good point.
It's only comedy.
I mean, I don't have an issue with blackface. It's just it is comedy in the sense that, not in the sense of what Francis is saying, but in the sense that like it's not gonna kill you. Like there's ways you can do blackface without having to be a dick about it. But people have a right to make fun of things and be dicks about things.
Well, how long until they have a campaign saying that
they have a right to do it? But you know what? The only thing that's protected is their right to do it. They're not protected from the repercussions of doing it.
Yeah. Are the repercussions always valid, though?
So the question is, why should there be repercussions of doing it? If it's comedy.
But the thing is, there's still repercussions. There are going to be people who think
comedy.
you're funny.
It's supposed to be a place where people can have free speech and just say what they want.
Right. And what did Chappelle say about his friend who was the trans comedian? She sucked. She was a shitty comedian. Well, there you go. There are the repercussions of being a comedian. If you're not funny, if you don't speak to the people don't agree with you, or you say something that's just completely outrageous. Okay, David Allan Coe. David Allan Coe is off most of the jukeboxes out there. Okay. And you know, you go down south, you'll hear a David Allan Coe song every other 10 minutes. You go above the Mason-Dixon line, you're not going to hear it, and you're going to get shut down pretty goddamn hard if you play one of his songs. The thing is that comedy is subjective, and if you have the right to go out there and do whatever you want with comedy, but you have no protection against the repercussions of it. People are going to throw tomatoes.
Well, no, you should have protection from certain repercussions. Like, do you think you should be able to not be protected from being killed for what you say?
No, yeah. I mean, yeah, that's a given. But I'm just saying there's still going to be repercussions, whether it's someone who says
yeah,
you should
there
be
will.
murdered.
Yeah, and people have a right to say like Hannah something that butch lesbian, I think, that in Australia that Dave Chappelle kind of dragged through the mud. She can say, well, Dave Chappelle's transphobic and leave it there.
Yeah, the funny thing is he's really not transphobic. He's just ignorant.
I don't think he's ignorant. I don't think anything he said was really ignorance.
He's ignorant in what the radical in radical feminism means. He didn't really get it, and that's where he stumbled. He talked about feminism.
you give an
He talked
example of
about
how he
feminism
messed up?
and being on board with feminism.
Yeah.
And then he talked about radical feminism and said, I'm on Team TERF. Well,
As a
that means he
joke.
just aligned with radical feminism instead of regular feminism.
As a joke, though. You
It
really
wasn't
think he
a
was being
joke?
You really think he was being serious about being a TERF?
I don't know. You tell me. It seemed to me
No.
like he was. He said,
there's-
I am Team TERF. I'm with Team TERF. I agree with TERFs.
That can also be in a very facetious manner based off the.
But it wasn't, because he went on to explain that he agrees with them that trans women aren't women, yada, yada, yada,
He didn't
yada.
say
He
that.
agrees with it. He agreed. He said he agreed
he
with
said
the TERFs.
gender is real.
Right, gender is real. And what's the second argument you get after gender is real?
We can't assume that it's always going to go that way. There's a few different ways of routes that argument can go.
I think what he was trying to support what his opinion was, and he associated his opinion with radical feminism. And I think that's where he made the mistake. He didn't understand what radical feminism can be. If he had just stuck with I'm a feminist, then that would make sense.
But there is an important distinction between second and third wave feminism that needs to be made.
It wasn't a lesson on feminism, though. He's called himself a TERF because people were calling him one. And he was going based off the idea that, well, I'm a feminist. Apparently, I'm transphobic, so therefore I'm a TERF. He wasn't being literal. He was using their logic against them. He was displaying the ignorance of their logic against the whole world on the stage.
Okay. That's not my takeaway, but I understand where you're coming from.
Yeah.
I definitely hear what you're saying. That's another way of looking at it, and I don't disagree with it. That's not what I came away with when I watched the show.
And that's the beauty of it, is how subjective. And you're right that, with that, you can say, I'm never going to watch Dave Chappelle again. And that will hurt part of his revenue because other people might do the same thing. And he's not free from that kind of consequence. But
he's never going to be free for that. He's never going to be free of that. He's going to be remembered for that until somebody else comes along and says something just as bad.
I don't know, man. I think it's gonna blow over eventually. I think it was just everybody's so freaking bored with being home all the time and all this pandemic related shit that even small things that would normally get blown over in a week are just fucking staying around for months and years. It's just,
no one has stepped up to the mic and said something
slow
worse
news
than
cycle
that yet.
and they're
it's not a slow news cycle. There's news. There's just not clickbait news. There's not yellow journalism that they can grab on to make a mark off of. But there's news. I'm sure there's stories that you could tell about a kid who just overcome cancer or someone who did this heroic thing.
Why aren't we hearing about the African American gentleman who plowed over and killed 5 people and injured 70?
And I would focus more on the fact that they didn't post his face. But had he been white, they would have said a white man drove in through a fucking crowd.
Nobody gives a shit. Nobody cares. People plow into protesters all the time. It lasts 10 minutes. It's a blip on the radar. There's no.
The thing is, why aren't they talking about his motivations? He posted them publicly on social media before he committed that act. And the few people who talk about those motivations and things that the person has posted and how they may be leaning towards one political ideology or heavier than the other,
it's all to get a reason to justify hating the other side. It's like Bill Maher has said, we hate each other so fucking much. We look for the smallest little issues we find in their armor and say, hey, I don't like that armor right there's not shined. Or in this case, I don't like that you said that comment. I don't like that you're doing this. I don't like that you did this. He's right wing. He must be bad. He's left wing. He must be a radical. That's all they're doing. It's tribalism 101.
What the hell is that you're stacking right there?
Oh, that's shit we got from IKEA.
My God.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the thing is that if it's not a hot trigger point, it's not going to make news.
Mm-hmm. Do you guys remember that story of that black guy in the river drowning and those kids were watching as he drowned down the river? It was all over national news for a while. And they're like, how come they didn't help out? And then some people were defending the people as to why they legally shouldn't have been able to help out. Instead, they recorded this guy drowning, being carried off by the currents. It's if that story was like recorded as someone jumping into the water to rescue, that would not have been as hot press as look at them just standing there not helping this person. In fact, that them just standing there like that's bad, but that's not national news. I don't need to know about that. That doesn't involve me. That's something that has to happen within the jurisdiction of that law, of that state, of that city. Probably at this point, I'm probably going on a tangent.
Tangents are fun, especially when they're dark.
Oh. But the thing is, right now, everything is so subversive and everything is preset to be us versus them that if it doesn't fit that rhetoric, then it's not going to get any attention. And that's the way it is. Our news system has been sold out. It's about ratings and money, not about truth and justice anymore. There are no more Cronkites. There's no more David L. Levine. They're gone. That's just history. It doesn't happen anymore.
The thing is, people are more interested in things when they're told to them in the perspective of a story. I could teach you a concept, but if I teach you that concept in a story, you're more likely to remember it and care about it. And that's, I think, why we have the rise of all these pseudo-journalists who are not really journalists at all, but just news, political, opinion, commentator type people. Like, I like watching.
There's a place for those people.
I like watching these people, but the thing is, they're not really reporters. They're just freaking people reading articles and commenting on them and giving their opinions. Journalists.
And there's a place for that.
I would like to see what kind of actual news from vetted sources.
The thing is that's not going to work. That's not going to make money anymore.
That's because the system is broken, I think. I don't think like journalism can work in a capitalist system like this because
it worked for years in a capitalist society. The problem is we're not a capitalist society anymore. We are post-capitalism. We call it crony capitalism. The actual tenets of capitalism have become so corrupted that we can barely call what we do now capitalism.
Okay.
If you
call it lower capitalism.
But you call it lower capitalism, crony capitalism, post-capitalism, whatever you want to call it. There's a giant difference between the days when Henry Ford sent muscle men to your house to make sure that you had a savings account and you weren't living outside of your means, and Walmart hiring 300 people at 18 hours a week and telling them how to get on welfare. Okay, capitalism has changed from its original form, and it's mutated into a form that is based on greed, profiteering. We are more Ferengi than anything else. I mean, honestly, that's what we are.
Are you a female? Why are you clothed?
Exactly. We want our profits high, our females naked, and our liquor for free. And goddamn, doesn't that sound familiar?
You know the rules of acquisition, Delchi.
I actually applied the rules of acquisition to submitting for bids in InfoSec in a talk I gave years ago.
I gotta check.
And it worked so well. People were amazed how I said, look, if you're gonna get into a bidding war or anything in InfoSec, go and pick up the book 1995 of the Ferengi Rules of Acquisition. And I said it'll be the best thing you ever do when you want to get into this game. But we are post-capitalism. No one cares about the workers. No one cares about anything but their own greed and profiteering. There was a time when capitalism meant you make money, you keep X% of it, you reinvest Y% of it, and you take care of your workers. There was a time when you had people who had spent 30 years at the same job, not 30 months.
Yeah, man, and look what the corpos did to Johnny Silverhand, man.
Yeah. I mean, there have been examples throughout the years, but the thing is, in general, capitalism that built this country was based on making sure that your workers were taken care of, your products were, of quality. There was no built-in obsolescence. I have 1970s Pioneer stereo amps that lasted longer than the Pioneer Walkman that I bought in the 80s.
You know about the light bulb cartel? How they all got together and decided they were all going to do built-in obsolescence in light bulbs.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that outlasted the cartel itself. And
well, now we have LEDs and they're all fucked.
Well, LEDs are kind of cool. They use a lot less energy. They're just not as bright.
They also don't burn out and they don't break if you fart on them.
Well, you see, they do burn out because what they do is they actually intentionally overvolt them. If you look, there's this thing called the was it Baghdad? No, there's a light bulb out there that you can buy. It's in an Arab country. I just forget which one. But the thing is, it doesn't burn out. It's just meant to last forever. And what they do is they use more LEDs and they run them at a lower voltage, so they just don't ever burn out. The bulbs that we get are intentionally made to burn out after a specific amount of time. It's actually hard coded onto the firmware of some of their chips. Where it has a date timestamp that is the date it was initially activated.
I would like to see that. I would like to see some evidence.
They dumped firmware. People have done talks on it. I think some of them are on Adrian's channel.
I'd like to see that. I'd love to see that. I'm not saying you're wrong.
The Google TV hackers, I think they used to be called, did something with that also.
I say citation or it didn't happen.
But
I want to see the citation. I believe it. I understand that it's possible. That's pretty wild.
But the light bulbs is like the easiest example of corporations coming together to screw over consumers, because if a light bulb just lasted forever, nobody'd ever go out and buy another light bulb. So what you do is you make a light bulb that's going to fail intentionally over the course of its life. And there's this firehouse that's got a light bulb that's been burning like over 100 years. And it was a regular light bulb at the time when they bought it, before the cartel came along and they standardized the socket. And it just still works. It just never went off. It's still burning. They have a webcam facing it. Yeah. Anyhow.
How long have we been going for?
What?
How long have we been going for?
We've been going for 1 hour, 7 minutes, and 4 seconds.
Oh.
As you can tell from the top left-hand side of your screen.
How do you know that's available to me?
Because you're using the same application that I'm using.
You're the host.
Well, mine says 1 hour, 7 minutes, and 20 seconds. So,
damn it, Delchi. I'm trying to defend myself here.
Nobody said shit about my new image. So,
what, Gay Vader or Gator?
It's not gay. It's Hello Kitty.
That's pretty gay.
How dare you assume? No.
How you know it's not gay?
Yeah, exactly. But the thing is,
why do you have to explain to the whole world that it's gay? What have you? That's outing.
I'm not saying he's the one who said gay.
I know, Francis. Why are you outing it?
Who, me? Couldn't be. Then who? Delchi the cookies from the cookie jar.
You know who Hello Kitty actually is, right?
Some Japanese shit.
Yeah, but the character is actually a little girl wearing a cat costume.
Oh,
it's not an actual cat.
I got this friend of mine who's doing this weird cat-based thing where this cat comes from outer space, and some military guys find it and they name the cat Titty Sprinkles, and then they use the cat to like go and get military acquisitions.
Yep, I did write such a thing. I even wrote the theme song to the show. So,
do you have it freely available? Could you play it?
I have it freely available. It's in my SoundCloud.
Why don't you play it for us?
Well, hold on a second.
And I'll give us some thematic overlay.
Lieutenant Colonel Titty Sprinkles sees the cat from outer space, sent to Earth to save the human race. He is Lieutenant Colonel Titty Sprinkles, Lieutenant Colonel Titty Sprinkles.
And if you happen to be associated with a large broadcasting company would like to buy the rights to this show, please let me know, because they are freely available. Now, many of you also know that despite my age and wisdom, I live in a pillow fort.
I've seen it. It's an excellent pillow fort, though.
But did you know the pillow fort also has its own theme song?
Does it? Play it.
Out in the desert, out Vegas way, there is a pillow fort that's open night and day. Get past the owl, he's the bouncer. There's Bernard at the bar. We've got streaming TV, 3D sound, and a glass candy bar. At Fort Ennui, out Vegas way. At Fort Ennui, where the geeks and hackers play. At Fort Ennui, stop by today.
That's right. My pillow fort is named Fort Ennui.
Very, very, very interesting.
Now, there are other things out there. I don't know if you're familiar with my album dedicated to old school hacking.
I am familiar with that album because you played it for me when I was there.
Yeah.
But you're welcome to play it on the cast as well.
Fill me in. I don't know about it.
Okay. Back in the early days of hacking, there were these things called wares, which was pirated copies of software, thus wares. And
spelled like the Mexican town Juarez.
Exactly. And what would happen is people would crack the games and they would distribute them. And they had people who were distributors and they had people who were couriers. And couriers would go from group to group bringing the software to them. And that's it would spread in a giant underground network. Thus became the legend of a Mexican person by the name of Jose Juarez, who is believed to be the first person to bring pirated software into the United States through Mexico. And he's represented by a Mexican man with a donkey. And the donkey has a saddlebag on, and in each saddlebag is a 1541 floppy drive. And that he would go around making copies of software and giving them away for free to people because software wanted to be free. Now, not a lot of people know the full history of this, and I wanted to bring this history. And I wanted to bring the history forward to people in a way that they would remember and that would stick in their heads.
Yeah.
And I did this by borrowing a Namshub from the 1970s. Does anybody here remember Schoolhouse Rock?
Yeah.
Well,
Jack
you remember
Black,
they did
right?
Yeah. They did a song about the Constitution, which was the basis for almost every kid in the 60s and 70s to learning about the Constitution. And the song was so catchy, it stuck in their heads. So I made my own version of it to explain the history of hacking and wares from the early days. And
play it for us.
Hey, hackers across the USA, do you know about your history? Do you know about wares trading? Hey, learn about your friend Jose. In 1987, I told the founding members all sat down and elected a courier that's known the world around. The wares scene was just starting out inside this great country. And so the hackers spelled it out. They wanted software to be free. And they put his name on the BBS and declared him the first courier to the United States. He has been helping us run wares ever since. The declaration became the constitution of all wares trading, and it went like this. hackers, in order to form a more perfect network, establish trading and ensure an elite registry. Provide distribution defense, promote the general trading stance, and secure software that is free for ourselves and our progeny. To ordain and establish Jose Ware's courier for the United States of America. In 1987, I'm told our founding members all sat down inside a Texas slaughterhouse and laid some rules down. The Ware scene was just starting out across the whole country, and so the hackers spelled it out. We wanted software that was free. And the declaration went like this. We the hackers, in order to form a more perfect network, establish trading and ensure an elite registry. Provide distribution defense, promote the general trading stance, and secure software that is free for ourselves and our progeny. To ordain and establish Jose Ware's courier for the United States of America. For the United States of America.
All right, it's over.
Oh yeah, yeah. You were the one that said.
Oh gosh, I forgot.
Is
to
it
turn the
over
banana
yet?
off.
How long is this? You know, people wonder why people don't do creative shit anymore. People
Oh
don't
my.
create anymore because they. How long is this? This is gay.
Is it over yet?
Okay, I'll tell you what. If you're gonna be that way, I'm gonna hit you with one that's gonna hurt even more, even though it's only 30 seconds long.
Go for it.
A horse is a horse, of course, of course.
Oh,
and no one
no.
can fuck with a horse, of course. Unless, of course, the man with the horse is the famous Mr. Hands. Go right to the source and ask the horse. He'll give it to you with alarming force. Up your ass with no remorse with the famous Mr. Hands.
Now, is that oh no because you recognize Mr. Hands?
Look what I found. Wow, you wanna spark it?
Okay.
Start puffing, boy. It's a YouTube poop video that he likes.
I just spit on my water.
So does nobody here remembers the story of Mr. Hands?
I remember Mr. Hands. I got internet history, man.
The Ermenclaw horse incident, which you will find on Wikipedia. It's the story of an aerospace engineer at Boeing who had the unusual hobby of letting horses fuck him up the ass. And they videotaped it, and it got online. And he became famous for it.
Francis does that. A horse, of course, a horse, or whatever it is. All the time.
Mr. Ed. It's the Mr. Ed themed song. It was a TV show I used to watch when I was a child. That was in black and white because that's how old I am.
Yeah, it just destroyed your childhood. 10 points from Gryffindor.
We had Nick at Night, and they played all the old TV shows, and that was my babysitter. I digress. I don't really have anything else to talk about today, and I'd like to go play some Civilization with Autumn, and I'm going to go do that right now.
Is that a video game or is that a euphemism?
It is a video game.
We like to role play.
Yeah, okay, role playing. So again, is this a video game?
You're Genghis Khan, and you're gonna steal my trade route.
I'm a Gaul.
You and me.
No. I'm the king. I'm the queen of the Gauls, and he's Julius Caesar, and he captured me.
We're gonna go play.
We are indeed testing ideas out to see what the heck we are going to do, because we really don't know. We're just kind of throwing things around, and this is less a security news. I did do some at the beginning of this cast, which I do, I do the security news. I've done it on Adrian's cast for freaking ever. So yeah, we're gonna go play Civ 6 now, and the cast abruptly with no resolution, no closure for anybody whatsoever.
Oh no,
just like
I'll give you closure, because if you want to go back to the tech stuff, here you go.
And remember, folks,
There is no cloud, just someone else's computer.
and remember, folks,
There is no cloud, just someone else's computer.
all
And that's all you need to know.
Yep, there's no cloud.
And we're going to end the cast with that. Thank you for joining us today. I am Frank. This is Autumn, and that's Delchi.
Now with working
Delcharuni.
Like what you see, don't forget to hit that subscribe button.
Yeah, hit that like and subscribe button.
And if you like us or hate us, hit that downvote or that upvote, because it still helps us.
There's no downvote anymore. They got rid of it. Just an upvote. So that's the one you hit.
What? I've seen downvotes. What are you talking
No,
about?
they got rid of it.
Oh, okay.
No more downvotes allowed. It's gone. You can click them, but they're not going to show up anywhere. And they count as an interaction. All right. Nice.